Would you join me in giving a warm welcome to Keith Jaspers and the Rainbow Network?
You know, when I came into this beautiful sanctuary and sat down in that lovely theater-style seat and leaned back and sort of, I was reminded of going to church in Nicaragua a few years ago with Pastor Enrique, and who very dutifully at 9 o'clock in the morning ascended to the stage in front, and we all sat in very small, hard wooden chairs that were kind of half broken and crooked. And he did a wonderful job of preaching until 12 o'clock noon. The Rainbow Network is an interdenominational Christian ministry based in Springfield, Missouri. We work only in rural Nicaragua. We do long-term development with the stated mission of sharing in the love of Jesus Christ by partnering with Nicaragua's poorest people in healthcare, housing, education, and economic development. We've been working in rural Nicaragua for 21 years. There are several things that make us unique or unusual. First of all, we have a very large organization in every community, and we're in 112 communities. These groups guide us and direct us and make most of the decisions. The Rainbow Network is their organization. We have become an organization of Nicaraguans, for Nicaraguans, and by Nicaraguans. Secondly, we combine projects. By networking housing, economic development, education, and healthcare together, we gain a huge amount of efficiency, just as Walmart does when the same store sells school supplies, medicines, automobile tires, hardware, and clothing. And each family in every community can use any or all of our programs. Number 3 is we don't like to give things away. Small business loans must be paid back. Home loans must be paid. Those that can must pay a small fee to the doctor for his visit, and that includes any and all medicines needed. Even our scholarship students, some 1,000 teenagers, must each pay us 2 half days a week in community service for their scholarships. Most end up working in our grade schools where they help teach their younger brothers and sisters and cousins how to read and write. Number 4 is 100% of our 40-member full-time staff in Nicaragua are Nicaraguans. This is so important for many reasons, but basically it instills trust and confidence from the very beginning. And fifthly, we are a Christian organization. We include everyone in all of the geographical areas where we work in all of our programs. We do not give privileges to any denomination nor exclude any. I belong to a United Methodist congregation. At least half of our staff in Nicaragua are Catholics, as are most of the people who live in the communities we serve. We include both local pastors and Catholic priests in our activities. Our mission is to witness through our work. What all want to learn is what it really means to be a Christian. We believe our work teaches that lesson. Our actions speak for us much better, much louder than any words. We do not build churches. We believe people can hold church services in their homes, but they can't live in the church. Number 6 is accountability. We manage our resources much like I did with the hotels I owned for many years. Our people all have work plans and are required to work every day and all day. They're required to get specific things done throughout that work day. Our money going out and coming in is closely accounted for with software programs similar to what I had in business. This is backed up with personal auditing at 3 levels. Number 7 is I, as the CEO of Rainbow, go down to Nicaragua personally for a few days every couple of months and have done so for 21 years. I tour some of our work in the rural communities, meet with staff, discuss problems and challenges, and assist with decisions on difficult matters. And lastly, we've figured out how to become at least 50% financially self-sufficient, and will be so within a year. Now let me go ahead here a little bit and discuss our work and how these 8 unique items I just mentioned contribute so heavily to our success. We network extensive and detailed projects of education, housing, economic development, and healthcare together. One small office and one small staff, usually 5 people, manage and accomplish all of this for about 16 small rural communities with a combined population of 5,000 to 7,000 people. We have 7 of these offices, all in rural Nicaragua, each operating a similar network, plus the National Supervising and Accounting Office. We gain obvious efficiency by sharing vehicles, office space, computers, community organizations, combining jobs, covering work when someone is out, and much more. This is how our projects work. Education. Many remote rural communities do not have functioning grade schools. Sometimes there is a grade school that functions, but because of many reasons, perhaps muddy paths during the rainy season, families that live a few kilometers away from the school do not send their kids to school because of the obvious difficulties in that long walk. At any rate, we operate about 410 simple grade schools with about 9,000 kids attending classes every day. We teach very basic reading, writing, math, and social studies. The program is designed to prepare students for high school. There are almost no high schools in rural Nicaragua, so we have a sponsorship program where donors pay $30 a month to send a child to high school. We have 1,000 kids in that program and have graduated around 1,500 in recent years. Most of these remote rural communities are several hundred years old, and many have never had anyone ever go to high school before we started this program. I want you to meet Rufina. Rufina's had a tough life. Her mother died when she was 6, and her father left her and her brother when he remarried. The 2 children lived in a little stick shack alone. Still a child, Rufina did odd jobs and made and sold tortillas to keep them going. She and her brother attended a Rainbow Network grade school, and later she got a Rainbow Network scholarship and went to high school. Then she got a Rainbow Network loan and bought a sewing machine, and we sent her to sewing school. Now she makes her living making and selling garments. A few years ago, she was married. Today, she, her husband, and her 3-year-old daughter live in a nice new cement block Rainbow Network house. She makes her house payments from her sewing business and her newly added cake and baking business. And she says, "My life totally changed." Today, Rufina is the president of the Rainbow Network Committee in her community. And now she spends a lot of time giving, helping, and motivating. The circle is complete. Her story is much more complex and detailed than I have time to explain here, but she will tell you how she prayed and prayed hard for an education, and then for a high school education, and then for an economic opportunity, and then for a house, and how Rainbow was used by God to answer all of these prayers every step along the way. Housing. Almost everyone in all of the communities we work in live in some version of a mud and stick hut or a shelter made of scraps of plastic, wood, and tin. Dirt floors, very bad roofs, no doors that close or lock, no foundations, no way to keep food, etc., are the norm. The people tell us they get wet from both directions when it rains, and I couldn't figure out what they meant by that when I first heard it. But they refer to the obvious very leaky roof, and then without a foundation, the rainwater just comes running right through the house. And of course, there's a rainy season in Nicaragua. It rains 6 months of the year, and people sleep on the floor in these houses, and often that floor is mud. Our direct response is that we build simple cement block homes with significant steel reinforcement, cement floors also reinforced, sheet metal roofs, electricity, outdoor latrines. We dig wells or tap springs or run pipes to existing water systems to bring clean, safe, fresh water to these new homes and other communities. We provide one trained construction foreman to supervise the construction of 25 houses. The families must provide the labor. The houses are not given but sold to each family on an interest-free mortgage that usually spans 25 years. The purchase price is based on the cost of materials only. Today's homes are coming in with a cost of about $4,000, which makes their house payments come in at about $13 a month. Now, most families can't afford that. And they're able to make their house payments from the profit they earn through their small business loan that we help them to start and then loan them the money to operate. We've built more than 1,000 of these homes now, and we estimate an average of 8 people live in every Rainbow Network house. 8,000 people that used to live in some kind of mud and stick hut now live in a decent cement block home in a decent community and have access to good water and electricity. Our economic development program centers around small business loans. We organize 12 to 15 people into a sort of club that we call a community bank. We have more than 400 of these groups. Each person in the group gets a loan. Currently, these loans average about $280. Everyone in the group signs a promissory note, no collateral, and they verbally promise before you and God to pay that loan back on time. The group must pay back any defaults within the group. Most loans are for 6 months. Most people are able to make at least $200 per loan cycle or earn a profit that's about equal to the amount of the loan itself. The families that really are successful participate in a new loan cycle every 6 months and do so for several years running. We have many loan clients that have participated in more than 20 loan cycles. Making $400 or $500 a year for 9 or 10 years really changes their situation. After a few years of small business success, we often see families putting a cement floor in their homes or sending their kids to high school without a scholarship from us. Families in our housing projects use some of this profit to pay for their house, to make their house payment. When we first started working in a community called the Valley of St. John, we found 5 local people that were making and selling hammocks. We taught them to make a stronger, better quality hammock with better quality threads. Then we helped them find ways to market and sell that product throughout Nicaragua. We gradually included more families and expanded their sales opportunities. And today we have about 150 families in this area that use Rainbow Network small loans to make and sell thousands of hammocks each month. Most of these families now make around $200 a month in cash income as they travel with their hammocks by bus and sell them throughout Nicaragua and Honduras. A few years ago, these people were among the poorest families in Central America. Our healthcare program has 3 branches: public health, clinical health, and dental health, and they're all equally important. Our 8 full-time physicians see more than 1,000 patients in a typical week. Each of these pays between 50 cents and $1 that includes the exam and any and all medicines they need. When we first start working in a new area, Everyone in that community has internal parasites, and 65% or so of the children are severely malnourished. Part of our response is to distribute anti-parasite medication, which we continue to do every 3 months. We also operate 156 feeding centers. Our feeding centers have served more than 50 million plates of food. Our doctors work out a clinic schedule and clinic locations in each of the communities. Usually a doctor visits each community for a half day every 2 weeks. The doctors carry medicines with them and dispense them as they go. Community leaders and volunteers organize and manage all the details, and every community knows where the doctors are every day in case of an emergency. Dory Luce was 3 months old and weighed less than 5 pounds when we first found her. Severe malnutrition and dehydration had her close to death. But our doctors came up with a combination of nutritional food, liquids, and antibiotics that gradually turned her life around. Then she attended the Rainbow Network grade school and now has a Rainbow Network scholarship to go to high school. And after school, she comes home and works in her family's small store, which is a result of a Rainbow Network small business loan. Her family joyfully gives credit to God and then to Rainbow Network for her new life and opportunities. Nearly all of our programs require a great deal of community participation. The people themselves provide the manpower or the sweat equity to drive our programs, from public health to grade schools, from small loans to building houses. The people in the community do the work. With the exception of our doctors, our staff really works only at community organization and motivation. We have extensive community organizations in each of these 112 communities we work in, and these community committees make most project decisions and are responsible for helping us organize the entire community to carry out our programs. This organization building of each community begins before we even start working in a community. We begin with a series of 2 or 3 town hall type meetings. The entire community is invited. We discuss the needs of the community and how we might work with them. And then at the last town hall meeting, before we start to work, we ask them to vote to see if they want us to come in and work with them. This vote then becomes our invitation. Then we immediately elect a Rainbow Network committee, usually 10 or 12 people, that our staff works very closely with as we develop and operate our projects. We continue to hold town hall meetings every 6 months in every one of our 112 communities. And our staff works daily with every Rainbow Network committee in each of these communities. And I might add that membership in our committees has become a very prestigious position. And of course, that really helps us get our projects in place and operating. I mentioned that we have learned how to become 50% financially sufficient. House payments, although very small, add up when you build 1,000 houses and will soon total $10,000 a month. Doctors' fees, even though they're 50 cents or $1, still add up to $3,000 a month. Interest and fees charged by our loan program are producing $15,000 to $18,000 a month now, and this gives us a projected income by sometime next year of all of our programs of about $350,000 from our activities in Nicaragua. And that $350,000 is about half our total combined operating budget for all 7 of our networks in rural Nicaragua. This Nicaraguan income will continue to rise over the next 4 or 5 years, and we project that income will exceed $550,000 by 2021. This will give us an unprecedented opportunity to expand our work, changing and saving thousands of lives in 2, 3, or even 4 new networks throughout rural Nicaragua, while continuing much or all of our ongoing work in the present 7 networks. I want to take a moment to thank Tom Bassford and Significant Matters for this opportunity to share my passion with all of you today. And I invite each and every one of you to come to Nicaragua with us and see what we do firsthand. Megan and I lead groups down there frequently, and I want to introduce you to Megan Munslinger, my cohort in all of this. Megan, please stand for a moment so they know who you are, and Megan can answer your questions. Yes. Megan can answer your questions probably better than I can as we go along. To summarize, we do things differently than most organizations. We work in 112 specific communities. We combine our projects of housing, economic development, education, and healthcare in every community. We don't give things away. Our in-country staff are all Nicaraguans. We as Christians let our work speak for us. Our actions are our sermons. We include everyone regardless of denomination and work with both priests and pastors. All resources, people and money, are strictly accounted for every day. I, as CEO, visit the project several times each year and personally confirm that we are doing the things we say we are doing. And lastly, we will be 50% self-sufficient financially by this time next year. This will allow us to grow and touch more lives than ever before. Thank you. Good afternoon.